This is day 1023, 1023 of your Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please come directly. We greatly appreciate it. Today we're doing your Adea Siman Pei Dalet, Zayin to Chov Dalet. That's fine. So the Rambam wrote that there is a uh, such a thing as a fruit worm. So what does he mean by that? V'kaminasa must mean lanod about pri. It was born in the fruit. But yosa mechuber la'aretz when it's connected to the ground. Obiyosa lusha or already plucked from the ground. V'pirsh la'aretz went down to the ground. V'charas again back into the fruit. Lozaatz m'sheretz aretz. Okay, but that's the sheretz aretz at that point. Vishlama romeis chashiv labif neatzim. I understand a creepy crawly thing he considered to be something which is a separate lab. Mishim sheretz mikre osan sheparim v'ravim mizargan keva. Because sheretz is that with those which are sexually reproduce. But romeis mikre mosan mishavim miipush, and romeis is something which happens generally spontaneously generated from rot or mold. Much glad to see doubt. Of ocean should pay us more than fruit. Hareim sheretz aretz. They're standard sheretz aretz. The Malach doesn't say from mitzvahs. The mitzvah kufayin vav. He goes according to his opinion. In mitzvah kufayin vav, the kasav he wrote. Shizraim lachol sheretz aretz. We're not allowed to eat from the shlotzim of the earth. Mitzvah kufayin zakot abizraim achli asa shlotzim. Hamisavim pushim. We're not allowed to eat from the shlotzim which generate rotten mold. Mitzvah kufayin ches kasav. He's yonam me'achol teloim. The worms, pairs which are spawned in fruit, mitzvah kufayin zeraim and in seeds. Vevim is the sifri, and he brought from the sifri lavi es the shepirshu aretz chazu. The quote those which left to the ground and then came back. Harei the chashuv said lab ibnei atzmo. So he considers a separate lab. This last case of toloim misyadim peros of Israel. When you can make the list of mitzvahs, broshachos, machos, asuros, chos, asuros, kavches, mitzvahs, 20 mitzvahs, umana shol, lechol, sheretz aretz. You can't not eat from the sheretz aretz. Umana shol, lechol, remes aretz. You can't not eat from the remes aretz. Umana shol, lechol, tolas, ha'peri. Not to eat the fruit worm. Should they say when it comes out of the air of the world, that shop. It's choshes zal even lab miniatzim. So you clearly consider this a lab into itself. The guy made him move on. This is came into remes haaretz, sheretz haaretz, shnei hafachim. Since the remes and sheretz haaretz are two separate things, heich efshal yozos bebira achas. How can you have one which is both? Because Tigo Ramban, but the Ramban already assailed the Rambam on this. But that's a Rambam's on Lira. Rambam was told Mishum the Trey Kroy Ksibe, the two psukim. B'sheretz Oretz, which are written by Sheretz Oretz. The Hachik Ksibe says the Chol Sheretz Oretz Sheketz Hu Lo Yachel. Any sheretz which is spawned on the earth, it's repugnant shall be eaten. Kol Echal Kachon, anything which goes on its belly begomer. Chol Sheretz Oretz, to all the shlotzim which spawn on the earth. Lo Tochum, do not eat them. Ki Sheketz because they are repugnant. Okay, neither the chazar salavin. Okay, true when it comes to looking for lavin. Ain't koflim malchus. We don't double the malchus. My time, mikom nevertheless came and sheish lamidim al shnei dvarim. Since we say it's it's on two separate things. The shnei in front of my echad al stam sheretz, one on generic sheretz aretz, mashen sheretz aretz abam min peros, and the other one on the sheretz aretz, which comes from peros. Shapi avi lav kol echad b'vnei atzu. Which one's lav unto itself? Zedor sifri. That's what sifri is expounding. Kol sheretz. Hashani from the second kol sheretz in the pasuk. The Ram wrote there. Liability because of both sheretz and remes. The two opposites. And that Mikoko nevertheless came in the soap, so no, my pay rate since it was born from the fruit. Whatever goes on the fruit, what happens in the fruit stays in the fruit. So, for our perspective, this looks like something which is generated from the mold or rot. Okay, actually part of a oven. So, for even though it is, but it does sexually reproduce. It also is going to be a remes aretz. L'chein came when she left aretz b'stak tam sheretz aretz. So therefore, it works on the ground like any other sheretz aretz. When he's have being peri, and but it was it generated in the fruit. But he got part of a rabbi and also is procreate sexually. Chayav ela shlosha is chayav in three things. V'shum sheretz aretz. That's one. For remes aretz, that's two. V'sheretz mi peri and a sheretz from a fruit. Levad sheretz hamayim v'of of tomei. Besides the possibilities of sheretz hamayim and of tomei, komakom rov rabbos seinu lo dula bezet. Most of the rabbis did not concede the point of this. Yud Zayin v'dai shno the lav the sheretz hamayim. The prohibition, the mitzvah slow says sheretz hamayim. The Havia Rambam is may out the shak to begin by doing make a study pugnim because sheretz are sheretz. From anything with sheretz, which is sheretz. Below me cross the kol sher ain lo slapir because kesses. He didn't learn from the pasuk of anything which doesn't have fins and scales. Shouldn't really because he holds the shom lo mayarak with dogim. That's only talking about fish. But I forgot the shon kol ksiv gakim kol sheretz hamayim. Even though there it's also use the language of kol sheretz hamayim. Kol never shechayah asher hamayim, and any as living soul in the water. Come kol nevertheless hamiko shabo ksiv kosaba ksiv alav. The pasuk in which the prohibition is written, and that's what it says afterwards. The lav itself, there should be a pugnim and you should not eat from their flesh. The primary lav is only going on fish. And it seems to be there's reasons. He follows his line of reasons. The dogim tameim, b'sheretz hamayim, that the tray fish and sheretz hamayim shnei inyonim nifrodim. The two different concepts. The sheretz hamayim also abis nabir gaskeses. A sheretz hamayim is also, even if it does have fins and scales. V'im nomar the lav ze kol kulam, and if you're going to say that the lav includes all of them, you can't have a lav should be close. It's a generic lav, which don't get malchus for. Therefore you divide up. Lav zehu ledogin tmeim. This one is for dogin tmeim. The lav the sheretz hamayim. Whom al teshaktu lav the sheretz hamayim is from al teshaktu. Some pair base in your base. Zelish koshkosa pair base in your base. Like the one I wrote was zelish shoino. A quote: Ha'ochel kazais misheretz hamayim. Somebody eats a kazais from a sheretz of the water. Harayz looking at Torah gets a malchus shemar al teshaktu begomer because sheretz begomer ayin shom. Yudches Orkos of a Rambam, so parak base. The Rambam wrote the end of parak base. We say kamalim. You chopped up ants. Vevi achashlema brought one complete ant. V'tzarfel elush yisrasku, and you joined it together with those which are chopped up. V'nasa kol kazayis, and the whole thing became now kazayis. V'achlu, and you ate it. Loka sheish malkios, you get 6 times malchus. Chamesh shum and the 5 on account of the ant. V'achas shunamala danamala achas, one for the one ant, I guess the whole ant. V'achas mishum kazayis minavelos the tamaim, also because you the kazayis and the veil of tamei of a species. Akal shon. V'gam gamara mifureshes is explicit garb b'makos. Avadvoi tumim was astonishing. Sheikosa mifurish b'eish perik dalet. He wrote explicitly the nevela ain't ela b'toyrim. The prohibition of the nevela is only by kosher animals. V'lo b'tameim, not by trade animals. The tameim lo shach nevela. By tameim, there's no concept of nevela. Gam isason isason lo laki raka lav the tuma. So therefore, even when they die, you only get a magas on the lav of tuma. There is no prohibition of eating an avela. Kenachinami lo laki here, so you should only get one shaka magas raka lav the shrotzim. Only a prohibition of shrotzim. By ray lav the shrotzim, yesh look fire ban malachas that we already have in the one ant. Magamisha says there. Nearly it seems to be says the Rambam dictate, but Rambam was precise in what he wrote. Lamar to say, Minivla said Tameim, the Gemara Nevela Stam. He said Nevela said Tameim. The Gemara just says Nevela generically. La Rosa tells us, ain't allowed Mishum Nevela. The lav is not a fact because of Nevela. This means This means the Gemara is the Gemara holds the Isser Beria of Isser Kazayis, the Isser of a Beria, that's the whole ant, and the Isser Kazayis, that's the together with the chopped up ant. Uh, 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 lost my place. Lost the lab. Really, the Issa Birya, Issa Kazai, I'm saying the enemy flooding. Kana Mishum Kazai Sheretz. So the issue is the Kazais of Sheretz, not Kazais and Vela. But the Lashon of Vela, why they use the Lashon of Vela, which seems to be misleading. Mishum Hanamola Achas Osa Gemara, Omer Gemara Lashon Chai. Because by the first Namola, the Gemara uses language of alive. Because it's Beria. And then people can be misled. But according to Shlema, because the reason is it's I to come to its whole much because Rambam. Barak mishum the chayeh vada hishlema. It's because when it's alive, it's definitely shalem. Chay not the lashon chay. It's the Gemara says language of chay. Aval elu Tess. Say Swasku. And I think he's numerated there, I guess. When they're chopped up, Vada Mason, they're certainly dead. Chol Mesh in the Vela, and any mace has this name of the Vela. Omer Shas, Vachas Shun the Vela, one cousin the Vela, Klamar Mishum Kazai Shchotzim Mason. Not this in the Vela of Kol Tarakula. Unique Isser of Kazai of dead Shchotzim. Amish Shomer says to Motamid, Lashvos Lashon Shas. Ram always goes according to the language of the Shas. Lakach Omer Minivlas Hatmeim. Even though it's not accurate, it can be misleading. But it's not nevela. It's because of sheretz tamei. And the two prohibitions here again, because one because of birya and one because of sheretz tamei. Your test, Kvani's Barbasi for Kimmel. The Arabian learns that Taloim, she's talking about Peros, that Taloim which came to being in fruit, Tlushim, which are separate from the ground, cause much low pirshu. Mutarim, as long as they haven't separated themselves from the fruit, they're okay. Looking at shorts are, it's not called being shorts on the land. I ain't sure. Can't shorts you should mind. Shorts which are water. Ain't Muslim also Mishisabu Yami Nosva Gomi. It's those which which developed in seas, rivers, and lakes. Abo Tolem Shisabu Amayim Shabakalim. Worms which came into being in water in vessels, or b'shar mashkin, or other types of beverages, mutorim, they're permitted, cause mashlo pirshu, as long as they haven't moved from their location. Da'atayro also rak b'kelim, atayro rak b'yamin acholim. Sorry, only asked it in seas and in rivers. Also in shailim, starkakeses, those don't have efficient scales. A mine should swim in but water which is in vessels, or mine should burst, or even in a cistern, of morris in a cave, and muchnosim which are collected, mutari, they're made of clothes, mashlo piresh, as long as the sheretz of mine has not separated itself. Avuk pirshu, they separate themselves, karina bula shoritz aretz, we call them shoritz al aretz, and because the movement, though they didn't come out of the water, it's the fact that they moved makes them shoritz al aretz. Tells me there's land underneath the water. No, what am I talking about? Sorry. When they come out of the bucket, that's to feel according to the Torah, even trenches and furrows, which are not springs. They're also like water in vessels. That's Rambam Masurim, they're forbidden. Since they are on the move. The Domil saying, look at rivers, Charitin, or the canals, Mikri, Arukin, Ukitsarin. Sorry, the Domil Norris. Period. The Charitin, Mikri, Arukin, Charitin are long ones, Ukitsirin, One second. Yeah, the charitin mikri arukin, they're long ones. Uksarin, long and narrow, I guess. And the itzim mikri rechavim, they are broad. Gon shosui bibri dogim, such as used for fish ponds. Therefore, shocha dam tocha bor tocha keli v'shosamayim. You can stick your head into a bore, into a vessel, and drink water. But ain't no cheshish with time. You don't be concerned with worms. Shabo in it. Gamish about the shaktu. Like also no, it's about the shaktu. Shayik I'm not alone because doesn't want to eat the worms. El shaymen the first to people. There's how as well because it can't stop them. Ima davar mosla, but if it's repugnant to him, valid also now anything repugnant. Mishum about the shaktu. For that, you should know the elu moving by ktani, those small flies, are no flame, may avir l'tochamayim, which fall from the air into the water. Nisharim be swim there, but still remain prohibitive. Low tide only permitted, only was permitted only gatoloim, only the ones she saw atzmon, which generate themselves by mayim in the water. O bechayon, or by yain, sorry, or in wine, or bechometz, or in vinegar. I have a knife in the teichel, but those which fall inside, Moshe Motze Bizman. Hakayit should no flame zvuvin or muskam in avir. What happens in the summer when flies and small insects fall from the air? Tochamayim into the water. O share mashkin or other types of evidence. O ochlin or into food. Nishar bisun remain forbidden. Hakol bisun could remain in the previous prohibition. Fish yesh toim possess. It's a people make a mistake. Va'oivin hakam alavin and they violate several lavin. As we explained, down the Mola Allah Loka Chamesh, an ant you get 5 markers, and you be very careful about this. Anything which is porish, no good. But you have to be very careful and warn the masses about it. The Pirshu Asurim, we explain that if they move from the original location, also even afterwards they fell into water again. Piresh Mikra, what is Piresh called? Piresh Achoreachli went behind the vessel, or Achoreabor behind the cistern. But I feel Piresh Swasakeli even went to the rim of the vessel, Swasabor, or the rim of the cistern. Or Shapirish Avir went into the air. Also, it's forbidden, even when it falls back into the water. And Perish the Doivin but went just to the wall of the vessel, maybe on the inside. Although when above name or the wall of the cistern on the inside, Lomikri Perish not considered to be have separated itself. Then afterwards it falls back in the water, mutter it's permitted. Batam, and that's the that's how they grow. That's the way worms grow. They go. Let's say go to the water from the water and to the wall of the vessel. Maybe on the inside. Even also if you're going to say the Torah, even after this, it came loytira cloud daily matolish. Then we can never find any worms which grew severed from the ground, which are permitted. Sheikh Dakum told me this is what I always do. The funnels me of name to go back on the walls inside the vessel or inside the cistern. Tira Torah. So the permits it's shamina the gambachai gabna shari. So it must be, and also if it goes to the Svasakli or Svasabor and it goes back, you're chayiv again. No, that's how he says. He says that you're potter. That's a potter. Pirish Mikre, Shapirish Akore Keli, that's what you mentioned. Asur. Since Torah allowed this, the ones on the inside, so if the Torah allowed it when it went onto the walls of the keli, so even on the rim of the keli or the bore, it's permitted. No, it's not permitted. He says it's not permitted. What is he saying here? One second. Let's figure this out. Yes, this is. So we're saying that since the toloim which are not piresh are mutter, it must be that that includes toloim which climbed onto the side of the vessel, side of the cistern, because that's derech. That's what we always do. When otherwise you would never could be matir because maybe it went up the side of the vessel, maybe on the side of the cistern. So must be that's not their derech. Do it all, and therefore we don't take it into account. Chab base ukshem shebezu hakeli shebin savotim, just like in the bucket, in the vessel where the worms generated. Mutarim shalom b'yeshul mutar if they haven't separated from the vessel. Kamochen im ira mayim, if you pour the water or mashke the beverage miklis el kli acher from this vessel to another vessel, kli acheres to another vessel. Yesh la kli acheres din hakeli rishon. The second keli has the status of the first keli. Shekos machema mashkin anytime as long as they're in the beverage. Or feel pure even they went up going to the walls of the vessel. Like in the first keli. But Tom, the reason is the chachir sayu. That's how they grow. So shall it came there chachim mashkim laros mikeli keli. Interesting. It's all part of the natural process. Take it from vessel to vessel. Mali bekli rishon, mal kli sheni or shlishi. Doesn't make difference. Kli rishon sheni or shlishi. Aval mibor lekeli from a vessel from the cistern to keli ain't okay. It's not. It doesn't work. Vasuli shall be keli shtos mehem. And you can't draw the water from the cistern and drink from them without checking for the bugs. The shema yifu shuba doifen al kilim because then maybe they'll go up on the opening on the walls of the keli on the inside. And then. And then it's like Porish Oretz. Why is that like Porish Oretz? Lo daim li yibri kli b'ki the mutar k'mosh b'yan. It's not like touring from vessel to vessel, which is mutar, like we said. The hasam lo nishtan ashein meikara. The name didn't change. Meikara kli v'ashla kli, and now it's a keli. Avohacha meikara bar v'ashla keli. So that's why it's also even it just goes on the rim of the bor. Chavkim of old. I feel even though the ain. Hefresh mean keli mean bar the clay. There's no difference. We're gonna say it's no difference whether it goes from a keli to a keli from a bar to keli. Gankin also should be clean in a bar. You still can't use a bucket to take water from the bar. We shouldn't shem even should be a bar keli mi bachutz because we then go on the outside of the vessel. Or sfasa keli or the rim of the vessel. I feel with doifen or even in the inner wall. Akodim she can't do a mayim l'seicha before the water's in there, so it won't be bottom. I should be irui. Mi bli mi clearly when pouring vessel ain't chashash bezeh. No concern. It's go up on the walls of the vessel. Sharei ain't no saying the hakili shnei totally shina. I'll put the second bucket inside the first bucket so that it's going to then go on the walls in order to get to the second bucket. Comes out. Lefisa hishtana dina gam mikeli keli. But according to this, there are also differences in pouring from vessel to vessel. They ain't had there rock la rose mikli rishon klisheni. Going from one first vessel to second vessel. Avalashum hakli sum hakli. You can only pour. Avalasum hakeli hasheni. But the first put the second keli the tokalishon like a ladle. Also, it's forbidden because maybe then it's going to go up on the outside of the keli. The second keli. It was even though my nest no mark can we say this here also you should not be able to eat with a ladle from or a spoon from a pot. We should also be concerned. Maybe it's going to go on the other side of the spoon or it's faster on its rim. People eat the wide minutes to eat with a spoon. Chometz. Vinegar out of the plate. Kanahuk, as a customary. Even though the vinegar is assumed to have worms. If didn't separate, but that's not going to work unless you spill directly from the plate into your mouth. If it's for a cloud, that doesn't seem to be for it at all. So therefore it seemed that it was a ladle going into the vessel. Or spoon into the vessel. Legal chashash is no such concern. She took for being mehirus. You stick it in quickly. Fine, we have a chushmei. Ain't a sheretz penalty for a kaf. It doesn't have time to go on the outside of the spoon. Mashiach bebor, as opposed to the bor, ain't ayin sholet. I can't tell the difference. V'yesh b'seh shios and their delays. L'chaygam v'yesh chush in that case should be concerned. Brackets, he says, I'm not sure if it does any good. I mean, a Pasha doesn't pay attention to the minhag. You have to, like I said, baby, base Ephraim, Hitim Rabisa. He was matir because that's the way they grow, not because of the speed in which you move with the spoon, but because it's Derek Rabisa to go on the back of the spoon. Therefore, it doesn't make it. It's going to be porridge as a result.